All right, it's that time of the morning. Talk to Sonia from Bryan Insurance, a very timely topic around here, as we are known as the lake country. A lot of folks with boats, and some of the boat docks out there may be small, may be large, but they all need to be covered.
Yeah, Rick, I've been asking on social media if people have insurance questions, and this is a question that I received, and it was, how do I cover my boat dock? And you're right, I've seen boat docks that are probably more expensive than the house we live in, and so it is a big investment for some of them. And so really the first thing that you need to think about when it comes to having a boat dock is the lake house itself. If the house that's next to the water that you own is not your primary residence, then it's considered a seasonal or secondary residence. You need to make sure you have the right coverage on that property. And there's many different ways that you can do that. Some companies will write a property policy and then put the liability on the homeowners, or some of them will write a homeowners. But the point is that you need to make sure that you have your property and your liability coverage coordinated properly. I always recommend that you have all of your personal insurance with the same insurance agent, because that way they can coordinate it, and you don't want there to be a slip up where one policy has, you think that you have liability on your secondary residence and you don't, and that kind of thing. But back to the dock, a lot of property policies will have an extension from the house, the main dwelling, to it's called other structures on your policy. So that could be an unattached garage or a shed or something like that. And so your boat dock potentially would be covered in the other structures, but there is a very important exclusion that you need to look for. A lot of property homeowner policies exclude hail, windstorm damage to any structure that is over water. So in other words, if there was a fire and your boat dock caught on fire and you had that other structure coverage, then you would have coverage for a fire, but not for the perils that are probably going to happen to a boat dock, which is going to be windstorm or hail. So you really need to check out that policy. And if you are concerned about that, talk to your agent, because there are companies that will include the boat dock or any other structure over water for those perils. It's just something that you don't need to take for granted. You need to ask and make sure that if you are concerned about that dock, that you do have the proper coverage. And it is available. Many companies offer it. Some put it in their homeowners. Some there's a separate policy, but it is available. So you just need to talk to your agent about it.
I guess there's different scenarios that you got to be concerned about. Here not long ago, we had a real bad storm out at PK Lake. A lot of the some of the boat docks broke loose, were floating on the lake. You've also got possible damage of somebody running into your boat dock with a boat. How does that cover the boat dock and that person's boat? And also, damage that could be caused in case the boat dock is like you got swimmers on it or jumping off of it, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of different things you got to think about.
Oh, yeah, Rick, and those scenarios that you talked about, they all happen, and there's different things. Of course, talking about the docks that came loose, and that would have, if you had that exclusion on your policy, windstorm is excluded, then you would have no coverage to pay to replace the dock or to whatever they had to do to get it back where it was. Now, if you had the proper liability coverage and you were found liable because, say, your boat dock came off and hit somebody or something, and you were considered responsible for that, then you'd have to make sure that you had the right liability coverage. And then if you have a boat or a Sea-Doo or any of that kind of stuff, you need to make sure you have liability coverage for that as well. So what you brought up is why we talk about this kind of stuff, because you do not want to think about this stuff after something bad happens. You want to know ahead of time so that you aren't, and everybody tries to be careful. Nobody wants to have something bad happen. You want to do everything you can to avoid an injury or a damage to property, but you want to know what insurance coverage you do have in case something does happen.
A lot of folks have weekend homes, don't see their boat dock a whole lot, maybe just every once in a while. It's a good idea to keep big-time maintenance up on those, because you don't know what you're getting yourself into when you're not around for a while.
That's right. Risk management it's important if you don't live near where your secondary residence, whether it's a lake house or another secondary home, you know, if you could hire somebody to just check on it occasionally. Of course, it's also a good idea to have those central station fire and burglar alarms so that if something happens and you're not there, if somebody's trying to break in, then the proper authorities would be alerted to that. So, there's lots of things to think about there. But just make sure that when you talk to your agent, and if you don't assume that liability is going to automatically extend from your house to your secondary house, because it doesn't. And you need to talk to your agent and tell them about any other residence, any other land, anything else that you own that is not where your home is located.
So folks that own docks or maybe ask you about boat insurance or whatever the case may be, how do they get a hold of you guys? Best way to do that?
Well, you can call us at 940-549-2525. You can come see us on the second floor of the Sierra Bank building here in downtown Graham, or you can visit us on our website, which is www.brianins.com.
All right, that's Insurance Talk with Sonia. We got more coming up here on Q94.7. Stick around, don't you go away.